Ched, it seems a long time and a long road since we spoke to you. Last time we did, you were on top of your game. You just signed a new deal here at Peony, and then suddenly everything changed. I'm sure it's been a tough 7 months for you, but you've had the all clear. You're back in action, hopefully this weekend, and it's fantastic news. How are you feeling right now?
Feel blessed and humbled, to be honest. Feel grateful. Feel thankful as well. Feel thankful to the club, the medical staff, the players, the manager, for helping me through the past 7 months. It's been difficult, but got through it, and hopefully, get a few minutes on Saturday, and kickstart where I left off.
Yeah, if I can take you all the way back to March, you just scored a worldie in the snow in Rotherham, and then you go up for a header and you go down, and it looks quite innocuous, but obviously what was to follow, you probably couldn't have imagined. What can you remember about that night?
To be honest, it probably started a couple of years before. I got an elbow to the neck in an FA Cup game, and I'd lost all the feeling in my arms. Went to see a specialist, had some time off. Didn't really think anything of it, and then over a period of time, like the more hits I was getting, it was getting worse. It was like an electric shock through my body, and I'd get like paralysis for like maybe a second. But like if I got hit in a certain way or headed a ball in a certain way, I'd black out. And like looking back now, I probably should have told somebody, but I don't know why I didn't. It was probably because I just wanted to play football. I think in the back of my mind I knew it would have been pretty serious if I mentioned it. So I just kept it quiet and kept going and protected it as much as I could during games and stuff. But obviously football is random, and even in training sometimes I could get hit and I'd black out, but just get up and carry on. And the one against Rotherham, I think I got hit about 15 minutes before in the back of the neck with an elbow, and I lost feeling in both arms completely. And then I think it was about 10-15 minutes later, just a cushioned header. What I struggled with over the past 2 years was looking up without losing my balance or falling over. I couldn't really turn my neck. In the mornings I couldn't even open a carton of milk because I had no power in my hand. I just kind of got used to living with it, which is, again, it's a bit scary. I didn't say anything. But when I headed the ball, I just got total paralysis. My body just shut down. Felt like I was down for about 10 seconds, but I think it was about 45 seconds. Got back to halfway line. I looked up again to see the ball, and I got the electric shock, which has been explained to me as it was the pressure on my spinal cord from a bone and two plates, like crushing it basically. So again, I fell down. I didn't say anything. The next day, I couldn't remember my kids' names. So that worried me a bit. I couldn't remember the baby's name. And then I came into training the day after. I think I just walked around and then went home, thought I'd trained. I remember Jacko ringing me, asking where I was, and I think that set the alarm bells off for him. So we suggested we go and see a specialist, which was the Friday before the Blackpool game. And again, I was training that week just in preparation for the Blackpool game. In the back of my mind, I knew what the surgeon was going to say because of the symptoms I'd been feeling for a couple of years. So we went down to London, and he asked me when I thought about retiring, and I said when my body gives up. And he just replied, I think that's it now. He said, you're so close to being paralysed from the neck down. He said, a one push or a bump in the car, a slip down the stairs, he said, he said that could be you. So then he referred me to his boss, and we spoke about the surgery. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it, so I went to the surgeon I initially wanted to see, who was on holiday, and he got me in straight away. But the aftermath of that news to my family and friends, and obviously the club, was worry straight away. But in my mind, I knew that was possibly going to be the outcome. But hearing it from a surgeon's mouth was like, it really hit home. And I think me and Jacko just walked around Euston, walked around London for about an hour, just wandering. So after the conversation with the surgeon, obviously it was difficult. My wife was worried, my family were worried. And in my head, I was like, well, I've been playing with this for 2 years. So I felt okay. It was just the seriousness of the pressure on the spinal cord that needed sorting. It took about 4 weeks to get into surgery, but the surgeon explained to me the process, all being well, that I could return back to football if I wanted to, but there would be no issue, there would be no risk of me being paralysed, which again was a conversation I had to have with the family, and I've had the support from Preston, like the fans going to the game and stuff during this period. The lads, the players, my family has got me through the past 7 months, because what's been difficult is I had the operation and it all went well, but it's the coming into football and not being able to play football has been the toughest part, and that messes with your head. So that's probably been the hardest part for me, is not being able to get involved with the lads and play football. So I've had no contact or trained with the boys for like you say, 7 months. And after the operation, I couldn't do anything for 8 weeks. I couldn't lift a kettle, couldn't lift the kids. I could physically do it, but the risk of moving the cages what were in my neck was high. So the surgeon advised me not to do it, which I didn't. Which again was difficult, like not picking the kids up and doing stuff like that. And then obviously after 8 to 12 weeks, I felt okay in myself. I felt good. My neck was good. I was getting the strength back in my hands, and I think that was the period what I found most tough, because I felt okay. So went to see the surgeon again for a checkup, and I was buzzing. I was excited, thinking it feels great, and he just said the bone graft isn't where it needs to be just yet, which was a blow. So he said come back in 8 weeks, which was frustrating. But the 8 weeks flew, and then last time we went to see him last Monday, me and Jacko, and he just said, listen, your neck's solid. There's no risk whatsoever. It's just down to you now when you feel right to get involved. So for me, it was straight away. They talked about the psychological effect it could have on you and stuff like that. And luckily, I've been one of them players that I've not really worried about hurting myself. Hence why this went on for so long. But the reality of it is there's no risk like there was 7 months ago. I'm fit. Obviously, I need to play games and stuff like that. But for me, it's turned out to be the perfect outcome. Although it's took a while to get there. But like I said, I can only be grateful that I am here today and able to play football again, which is mega.
Yes, obviously absolutely fantastic news. Everybody is delighted for you, because we all know what you've been through, and we'll get to all those positives. But when you're using words like paralysis and blackouts and you can't remember your kids' names, that's something that anyone would be nervous about. But you also are a high level athlete who probably has more likelihood of, you mentioned stuff like falling down the stairs, but you're going up for headers every week, and the kind of player that you are, you're more likely to get those knocks. So when you heard that news, how scary is that of what could have been?
Obviously, it was to hear that news. It was scary for me, but I knew from the symptoms I was feeling it was going to be bad news. So I kind of prepared myself for the meeting. I think it was my surrounding people who worried the most, which again is hard for me because I don't like to see them worrying. Obviously, all the lads were concerned, the manager and everybody at Preston. They just wanted me to be safe, which today I am. But like you said, the fact that I didn't choose to say anything previously, I'd rather keep doing what I was doing. It's mad because I just want to play football like every other footballer. They just want to play football. But when things like that do happen, like I now know I should have spoke up. I should have said something, which is a lesson for me. But like I said, I feel lucky and feel blessed that today I can say I can play football today, and thanks to Jacko using his initiative and making that call. Like you say, it's because I probably wouldn't have said anything. But it was scary at the time, but like I said, I can look back and learn from it, and maybe help somebody else who could be in a similar position of putting football before their health.
Obviously in your mind, I'm sure you always thought, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to play football again. But was there ever a time where you thought, this could be it, this could be how when I call my career?
That was a massive realism. There was a big chance of that happening because you had a lot of obstacles to get over. The surgery had to go well, the recovery had to go well, no hiccups during the recovery. So I sat down with Tash and we had a chat about it, and we agreed that if there was no risk to me and my health, then 100% I'd get back playing football, yeah.
Is that the most important thing right now, is that I think people are worried for you, even though it's fantastic news, I think people are still worried, but is the most important thing you're going into it knowing that you're at no risk again?
Yeah, definitely. That was all I needed to hear. From the surgeon to say that you're at no risk of being paralysed, and I know that because he's took all the bones out, so they've gone. For me, that was the most important thing. So if anything was to happen, it wouldn't be because of the surgery or anything like that. It would just be unfortunate and bad luck. But he's assured me that there's absolutely no risk, and I often say to people, like, I played with it for 2 years, so actually that's when I was at most risk, and I was high risk, and today that risk's been taken out. So
you've used words like grateful and blessed, but can you take us back to that moment where you've been told you can play again, you're fine, you can go back to training? How does 7 months of emotion fit into that one moment?
Don't know, I've kind of got used to kind of big meetings and dealing with big decisions and stuff like that, and I got emotional. I felt like the past 7.5 months had been a roller coaster, which they had. Go through personal stuff and work, and coming into a football club, trying to be part of it, but not being able to be part of it, which is really difficult for a footballer. It'd be like you coming to work with no cameras. You just feel like a spare part. So when I got the news that I could get going again, it was, like I said, I didn't feel anything other than grateful and thankful. And yeah, it was. I got a bit emotional because it has been difficult mentally, and physically, because all I've been able to do is run. But like I said, the end goal was to get to where I am today, and it has been hard, but I wasn't going to give up. I just cracked on.
Just how good is it now being back out with the group, a ball at your feet, you can go up for headers again, you can run into defenders, you can be a nuisance?
Again, it's like a reality check, because you can fall into the trap of moaning all the time, and you're not playing, or you're not in the team, or training's not very good, or whatever. And it's been an eye opener to be like, well, I shouldn't really be complaining about anything. I should just be thankful every day that I can walk and play football, and more importantly, have a life with my kids, because that was a genuine fear for me and my wife, that I want to grow up being able to go on a bike ride or play footy with my kids, and that was the biggest fear. It was a hypothetical fear once I'd had the chat with the surgeon, because that scenario wasn't going to happen. But the fear of the hypothetical thought, that does send you under, and you do overthink things like that. And that was another thing I had to deal with, the what ifs and this and that. But I wasted so much time worrying about that, and it was never going to happen. But that was, like I said, just another aspect of what had happened. But training with the lads and being back on the pitch with a ball and stuff like that, I think it feels great. And it's funny, because I went up for a header in training, and you could kind of see everybody, but for me it's just, I know there's no risk. So I just crack on.
What you've been talking about there in terms of your kids and bike rides and stuff like that, it sounds like you're talking about perspective. Has this experience given you a completely new look on life almost? Yeah,
it has. And again, it's another thing I've had to come through, in a different aspect. But it's like I think it just shows as well the power football has over footballers, and what they'll do to play football. And listen, it's all I've done, it's all I've ever known. And for when I went home to tell the kids that I couldn't potentially play football again, like, my eldest was gutted, and he was really upset. So the day I could tell him, actually, I spoke to the surgeon and I'll be able to play, and he's going to come on Saturday. He's so excited, and that'll do for me, that.
Yeah, training's one thing, but I'm sure, knowing you as a person, we've spoken about it in the past when you struggled with like your plantar fasciitis, you just wanted to get back to playing. Is that just a completely different experience than training? You just want to get back to walking out the tunnel, going onto the pitch, and being involved in competitive football again?
Yeah, well, that's all football's about, isn't it? You train 5 days a week, and you live your life the way you do, all geared up for 90 minutes on a Saturday, because that's the end goal. So yeah, all the things I have missed, like the training, the camaraderie, being a part of the group, I have missed that. But ultimately, that's a byproduct of what it is I want to achieve, and that's the Saturday and winning games and scoring goals.
How much have you missed that feeling, especially as a striker, as you mentioned, when scoring goals? As we spoke to you last season when you were on that fantastic run, and it just felt like you had as much momentum as you probably could. You were on top of your game at that point. Are you just looking to get back to that player?
Yeah, obviously, but I think what I realised during it was football isn't my life. I have a life after football, and because of the severity of the injury, it kind of got me through in a way, because I knew that actually this needed to happen, and I needed to look after myself. With the plantar fascia, like it was just in my foot, and I was like that's annoying, do you know what I mean? And eventually it snapped, and I was buzzing, but because once it had snapped, it wasn't going to hurt again. But with this injury, I knew the severity of it, and actually it needed to be, this process needed to happen for me and my life and my kids and my wife. It wasn't as if I'd pulled a hamstring or a calf or something like that and I'll be okay. Worst case scenario, I'll be okay. This was, like I said, life-changing decisions and repercussions if the worst was to happen.
You've already spoken about it as well, but you've mentioned the support from your family, the football club, the lads here. Can you just put into words what that has meant to you? Because I know it's something that people say, but when you've been through something like you have, you need that support network, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. The support I've had from everybody, even like the club has been so supportive, and I couldn't thank them enough. The lads have been 100% behind me and my family, but I've been going to the games on a Saturday and fans have been pulling over and asking about my neck and when would I be back. Like, that helps, do you know what I mean? And as much as it's just a 20, 30 second conversation, like, it gives you that fire to get back and go, do you know what, actually, this is what I'm doing it for. And like I said, it's going to be special for me on Saturday because I knew what could have been. So I'm going to be so humbled and I'm so excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, just rounding this off, Jed, I'm speaking on behalf of the whole fan base and probably football as a whole. We're all so happy for you to see you back. But on Saturday, it's tomorrow now, isn't it? How excited are you for that moment of potentially being on the pitch, kicking a ball, going up for a header, causing problems for the opposition defence and helping North End hopefully get 3 points again?
Like I said, that's the ultimate goal for me, and to pick up the form I had before I got injured is what I want to do. But since I've had the operation, everything's become easier for me, like running, balanced. Like, I couldn't look up and I couldn't turn my head without my neck seizing up. So I played with that for 2 years, and it was difficult. Like, running I felt hard. Heading the ball was painful, and I was in constant pain. And today, all that's gone. All the symptoms have gone. So I feel so good within myself. But I think for me, and I spoke to the manager and the medical staff, it's about just reining me in a bit. It's like a jack in the box, wanting to get going. So it's going to take a period of time for me to get that match fitness, but I've just got to accept that and go through the process.